It's a fact you're not here. You ain't even real, but you still bring me fear. You make my bones so tired that my soul stands up. But now I'm starting to need to bleed to fill this cup. It's like I'm starting to need to bleed to fill this cup. Oh.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to The Working Wing, the podcast where every week we bring you news from around the country and around the world and break it down from our own unique working leftist perspective. My name is Tim Schultz, and joining me, as always, my dear friend, longtime debate partner, and a man who would be a good fit for Mogadishu, maybe one of the Slavs, certainly nowhere with nukes. Killian Collins is here.
Well, Tim, I'm insulted by that. And I think I'd be insulted by anywhere that doesn't have nukes. And I would like to suggest not North Korea, but the DPRK.
Yes, there you go. We'll start you somewhere in Europe and Berlin by Christmas.
Yeah, work my way up through the Balkans.
Yeah.
Right.
We will get to all that.
Some grandiose Soviet ideas that Connor has.
But before we get to Connor Roy's polling surges, you wanted to talk about some real life polling.
Yeah, mostly this week we were kind of taking it easy, but we just wanted to look at some polling that to us seemed to be of pretty big concern. I mean, yeah, they're just a little scary. It kind of reminds me of like history kind of not repeating itself, but it definitely rhymes. Yeah, it was just some polling we were looking at from 538 just with how Biden is doing right now, which is like basically more or less the same. He's done worse, but he's done better. He's lost a lot of support in the last in basically the last year or so. Yeah, the favorability of Donald Trump is basically saying also more or less the same. Also, what's also threatening is Trump had a little he's having a slight bump down with the recent charges against him on the courts, but also CNN decided to give him a town hall and give him a bunch of free media attention.
Was one of the most ludicrous exercises in journalism I have ever seen. I don't know what CNN was thinking.
It's not journalism; it's ratings. It's ratings whoring.
It's
terrible. They did a terrible job because like they made him look good at some points, and it's like, well, I look at this too, like this poll right here, and I'm like, well, kind of makes me think of Succession, where Kendall says, well, that they sure as shit didn't give DeSantis a town hall.
Yeah. I was thinking more of when Roman tells the studio executive Joy that his fascist guy is IP just like anyone else. I can totally see the Warner the Discovery guy shrugging and saying Trump's IP just like anyone else.
But it's like the Pierce Network doing that. It's literally like, oh, we think we're gonna have him out, because I think what their idea was that like we're gonna ask him tough questions and he's really gonna get grilled, and it's like, no, he just talked over you.
Yeah, no, if they did that, they should. Yeah,
didn't accept the framing
at a neutral
either.
site. It was at a Trump rally, basically. Like,
no, dude, the crowd was going nuts for him. Like it was like a town hall with Trump is like with people just there for Trump is not even good. And even the people who they like, and the thing is though is like they didn't like all the audience questions were just kind of like CNN picked out ones that were like they thought were going to be like, we're going to get you on this, we're going to get you on that. But honestly, he trained up. He trained up and he looked better than what he looked like in 2020, in my opinion. So that's just all of that is very concerning. Also, too, we have this poll here in case, in case Joe Biden, the people who are propping up Joe Biden, like let him fall down one day. Like the weekend at Bernie's bit actually happens, and we have to actually end up with Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee. It does not look very good either. It looks a little bit more sporadic than Joe. And granted, there's less polling for her than there is for Joe Biden based off all this, but it doesn't look good either. Like I certainly won't be like pledging any vote for Kamala Harris.
No.
Right. Like I mean, and that's the hard part about this is it's like, if I just want to put the onus on like Democrats really need to find something that are going to mobilize people. I want them to really right now, I want Democrats to be sweating. I want them to be
Yeah,
looking at these numbers.
it's like these polling numbers are kind of meaningless. It's going to come down to Democratic ground games in swing states in like the lead up to the election.
Yeah. And the thing is though, is that, but numbers like this look depressing.
They do.
Look depressed turnout numbers.
They do. Although that's what everyone was saying ahead of, I will say that's exactly what everyone was saying last November.
Yeah.
And those results were way better for the Democrats than anyone predicted.
I wouldn't say way better. I think that was,
I mean, all the predictions were a red wave where the Republicans would easily retake the Senate and a huge swing in the House of like 40 to 60 seats.
yeah, but they
And
just
that
didn't
didn't.
lose. They didn't lose as much ground as they were expecting to. And it's like, well, you're still losing ground. Like and they're not really on the upward with the momentum. Really, the biggest thing that happened with them is actually like Roe versus Wade overturning. That's actually the
That
biggest
still
boost.
continues to pay dividends because the Republicans continue to double down on those strategies.
I know, but how long will it last? I'd like to be optimistic about it, but I'm also deeply concerned that people have other issues on their mind too. And if it's just about abortion, it's like we're going to need some other core economic issues to bounce on top of that to really convince people who like even might be more conservative to to jump on the train of their own interests. So yeah, no, like it just really kind of want to take a snapshot at this point in our political process right now. Like this snapshot just seems like an interesting. It's still very confusing, and you're right, Tim. These polls are kind of meaningless because like there's still a lot that can happen. Like it still is like I just want to look at like Kamala Harris because it still is like I don't know if Joe Biden can last another 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Like it's a gamble.
It is a gamble. It's a worrying gamble. But I mean,
that goes for Trump as well.
Yeah. He's like, running, and that's kind of the end of the conversation when it comes to Biden. I mean, yeah. unless he dies in the next year.
Yeah, unless we see a Succession type situation where he's not wearing. I'm sure he's got his compression sock. I'm sure Jill's strapping him on.
Oh, before every flight, gotta wear those compression socks.
Like, yeah. man, imagine all those compression socks just for like 13 hours on that way to Ukraine, man. I mean, it's got to wear a lot out of you. But anyway, speaking of hot polls, we then look into the beginning of Succession season 4, episode 7, labeled Tailgate, with Tom letting a servant make him or our cook make him a wonderful breakfast that he puts on a little plate for breakfast in bed for Shiv. who just kind of wants it on the table and not really want it in bed. She's working right now. She's looking at polls, but he brings in hot polls for her. some nice juicy numbers that are, oh, Tim, you say something? I can't hear you. We are having difficulties.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, brother.
All right. Technical difficulties.
But we're back now. Yeah, all I was getting at is Tom giving Shiv breakfast in bed with some poll numbers. But what were you saying, my friend?
Oh no, I was chiming in. Yes. Shiv's guy on election eve is firmly in the lead.
Yeah.
What Jimenez? I think is the Democrat running.
Oh, I thought it was a female candidate. I could be. I definitely could be wrong.
I don't know if Jimenez is male or female, but I think they mentioned Jimenez.
His name or something. I don't know. There was some. They had like on their app too. They had like the candidates' faces and stuff, like those ugly pictures of Hillary and Trump that are burned into our retinas now.
Yeah.
But anyway, Tom is basically in good with Shiv. Is in good with Shiv right now. They've obviously they just got they've been fucking all night. they
Boy, have they.
yeah, they're feeling good about themselves. He's already he's geared up, and he's on the optimistic path, and they're ready to have this tailgate of an election eve party at their house. But yeah, he gifts her a little gift on top in their little honeymoon session
Yes.
of a preserved scorpion in this little
Which
casing.
is it's such a random rich person gift.
Yeah.
This fancy preserved scorpion that he just bought on a whim, and then yeah, it definitely leads to a moment. Tom is trying to be jovial about it, trying to laugh it off, but
It's also like, why'd you do that? Like, why'd you?
why a scorpion? He's like, no, it's a joke. We kill each other. You kill me, I kill you.
Right, and it's weird because initially when I saw it, I was thinking because I was thinking kind of like shit. It's like, am I the scorpion and you're the frog or something? Like, it's just it's in my nature to do this. Or this is in each other's nature.
Oh, and we will get to whether it's in their nature to do that.
Yeah.
Later on.
If they get to the end of the river or not.
Yes. And then we get to this is where Kendall and we cut to Kendall
You
and
see
Rava.
Rava again. Yeah.
Rava is back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And what might actually be a series wrap, I'm not sure. We'll see. Yeah, there's 3 episodes left.
Oh, we still
But
have the
this might
funeral.
just
I got a
have
lot to
been
say about that.
Yeah, the funeral is coming, probably the penultimate episode. But this might have been just a little hey guys, remember, in addition to being a fail son and a fucking idiot when it comes to everything business, Kendall is also just a piece of shit human being as a father and husband.
Oh, I imagine he's just kind of channeling more of his father.
In a way, yes. Because
Yeah.
if you go back to the Roy family therapy session, all Logan would say was, I was out there working for you kids.
Yeah.
Just over and over again.
Everything I do is for you kids. I made this racist media or news organization for you kids.
Yeah. And it's because it's something that we saw in season 1, but his daughter, the daughter they're talking about, she is not their natural child. She is an adoptee.
Mm-hmm.
She is a Southeast Asian girl who they adopted.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they talk about some guy wearing a T-shirt from their Nazi news anchor,
he's wearing a hat, a Ravenclaw hat.
Yeah, Raven hat.
Yeah.
But
Ravenclaw
it's
hat. Ravenclaw.
but yeah, that's what Logan is building.
Yeah. Well, and it's also, her group at school is also making a progressive anti-disinformation or ATN thing that her mom that Rob says is supportive, but it's conflicting, knowing with what her dad does, and being actually proud of her, wanting to have that relationship with her father still. Even
give
though
us a show about that girl, about the Southeast Asian adoptee into the Roy family.
Yeah.
That's yeah, her perspective has got to be interesting.
It has to. But anyway, Rava tells him about what's happening, and Ken really majorly overreacts and wants to go to major fix it.
Yeah, he's just such a blustery dipshit. Why was she out in the street? It's in the street? She's a kid, dude. She goes outside sometimes. You're not raising her in some fucking fortified compound.
Yeah. And really all she wanted is just him to call his daughter and just
just call your fucking kid. And he's I'm in a lot of, you have no idea all the stuff I'm doing.
I'm on 6 continents.
Yes, he drops across 6 continents.
Yeah,
a true world-class douchebag.
Yeah.
Speaking of world-class douchebags, we have one, Roman, trying to dig up dirt on another, Madsen.
Mm-hmm.
on his way into a brunch meeting with his family.
Yep. That basically I'm guessing this is at Connor's request to have a
I'm
little
sure
like
it is. I'm sure it is.
a funeral committee discussion.
Because he is the like head of the funeral committee, and I'm sure he had like a half chub just being able to like convene all his for
Yeah.
once being able to say something and have his siblings like all come and meet him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wouldn't come from his rehearsal tonight. They weren't there at his wedding. They weren't there. Right. So the only thing he can really arrange. I know it's sad.
Yeah,
Like,
it's sad.
I hate to say it, but it's like I want to take like stock at the end of these characters and like who you sympathize with. And like, but it's like right now, Connor Roy, I'm just like, well, there's just so many things. I know he's rich, but it's just like, damn, the tragedy of you just not achieving anything with it.
We'll get more to like the tragedy of Connor.
Yeah, we
later, but like some great lines of he just went to see Dad again, and Dad's looking good. It's like I woke up on the right side of the coffin today, boy. And they kind of talk about like who wants to speak at the funeral, and no one volunteers. You can kind of see Roman wanting to say that he will, but he doesn't get there until he's suffered a whole host of defeats.
Yeah.
Throughout the episode. Connor says he likes to go see Pop. He's comforted by how much Logan isn't there. Which, if that doesn't like sum up a whole bunch of trauma, I don't know what does.
I mean, and it's been speckled throughout the whole series. It makes me think of like when they're on the yacht doing silly voices, and then their dad shows up and stops any emotional healing or progress.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Honestly, it also has been true that the feeling of not feeling Logan throughout this rest of the show, he's still been a presence throughout all of this.
Yeah. And then we get the news that Connor is exploding in Alaska.
Oh yeah, 5%, baby.
Up to 5%, and he's holding strong as 1% nationwide. It's honestly kind of impressive. I mean, it's not, and we'll get to why later on. But
hey, the thing is, it actually is. Well, we'll get to that, because the thing is you have enough to swing an election not for somebody, because there are a lot of people who blame Donald Trump entirely on Jill Stein or Gary, it's like, well,
or Gary Johnson, yeah,
right, right, and it's like, well, but the thing is that those people took lanes. And the thing is, though, is Connor is kind of like the representative. Like he would be.
I don't believe Connor has a lane. No, I don't think Connor has anything resembling the ideological lanes of a Gary Johnson or a Jill Stein.
No, he seems more. Well, I mean, I don't. Definitely not a Jill Stein. I mean, he seems more like a libertarian. Like he definitely seems like zero. Like or you call it whatever you want. Call it the like I ain't paying party. That's what I imagine.
Yeah, abolish income tax.
Yeah, like the I ain't paying party. Like that's what I imagine Connor Roy's party is, if he's not with the libertarians. But the thing is, you have leverage with a party or another. But we'll get to that later on. And yeah, after that, like it basically becomes about Madison, and Connor takes his leave because he's got to talk some working class, or he's got to do what the fuck ever.
Yeah, more working class whites in Cleveland.
Yeah, but the siblings start talking about Madison and what their strategy is going to be for that, since what Madison was going to do about coming to the tailgate or not. And they're talking about he's not going to come. He doesn't really give a shit about it.
Right. So they're going to work the room, try to stoke up regulatory fears, get the
right, like
all those ultimately powerless alphabet agencies. In on stuff.
Yeah. So they're making a plan B, and Shiv lets us go on. And once the boys leave the table, Shiv calls Shiv calls Madison and lets
Yeah.
him know he needs to be
Well,
there.
and their plan comes with the caveat of, can we invite Nate, your ex-lover /
I forgot about that
place,
detail.
I would place Jimenez Staffer to the party.
Yeah. Yep, I forgot about that detail because they needed I don't know. I feel like it doesn't make that much sense. I just feel like the writers want to have a little bit of drama. Woo! All right, the writers want to have a little bit of drama, and then in addition to our drama here, Tim is getting dropped out. So we'll wait for him to get back on for just a second. But in the meantime, we're just going to keep on going, talking about what else has happened. There he is. Here we are.
Yes, our troubles, our tech troubles continue.
Yeah, we were shooting in different locations at the time, so bear with us. Thank you for sticking with us. But anyway, after that, we get then Shiv, kind of like, you see a little bit of Shiv's thanks for the great sex last night, Tom.
Yes,
Text to him.
Tom, and we don't even realize at first what Tom is doing, but he's like texting. He's like, yeah, they're sexting back and forth about how they ravaged each other. And then Tom says a few brief words, and we don't even see I love how they shoot this, where like at first it looks like he's just talking to like 6 people.
Yeah.
And then as he like does the handoff to Greg and Greg starts talking, they start like panning across, and it's clear that he's literally talking to like dozens upon dozens of people on this Zoom call.
Yeah. On a massive Zoom call. And it starts out very bleak already with Tom saying I hate to do this. This is like one of the worst. Something this makes me cry in the job.
It's like, God, these people are awful.
Oh God. And
Greg
just
is the worst.
Well, Greg's the worst because he can't even do it competently. It's such like a bitch job of just having him read, like clearly reading and going, yes, unfortunately we've seen.
Oh, good morning. Okay.
Just great acting all around. I'm just like, I'm gonna miss the show. I'm sure this cast had a lot of fun working with each other.
Like Tom is like making motions and shit, and like clearly just like bent over the table texting, cry.
Yeah.
Make sure you look sad, Greg.
Yeah. Not like you're fucking happy to do this. And then don't we cut? I think we cut to the start of the tailgate.
We got to start to the tailgate, the spot that we will be spending the rest of the episode. And this is like maybe 20 minutes in to the episode. So it's like, okay, we are dedicating most of this show is really one of those everyone in succession is all together in the same place episodes.
Yep. And I love
I feel like
we've
done a lot in this season, and it's great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like the boat scene.
But yes,
season 2.
Yeah. So Tom is tired. Poor Tom. He's tired. In a way, I definitely sympathize with Tom. Anyone who knows me knows I am not the most social of people. Big groups of people tend to wear me out. And there have definitely been times where I have had like groups of people at my house where it's just like, I am tired. I want to just like go away and not deal with you guys.
Yeah, Tim, I think
Tom also lives in like a fucking like 15-room like penthouse mansion, whereas I live in a cramped 3-bedroom where like if there's a group of people over, there is actually no way to not to get away from them.
Yeah, and I apologize. I've been there for a couple of those. And by couple, I mean several dozen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Tom's also very tired because he also knows how late he's going to be up for election day tomorrow.
Yeah. No, and again, like, yeah, it's there's so many relatable. It's like when you have a busy day the next day. Although really, I think Shiv has like right before their fight later on, Shiv has a thing of like, you're going to be standing behind some cameras spotting, shiny foreheads. Like how tiring is Tom's day-to-day job really?
Like how much is he really running the ship at ATM?
Well, yeah, we'll give to more of that, but like, Tom mentions like, oh yeah, this is my chance to like secure my spot, and you kind of see a little wince in Shiv's face, presumably because she knows that like a big part of her strategy tonight is going to involve Madsen telling everyone that he's going to fire everyone from ATN.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, basically kind of playing that scorpion, being a bit of a scorpion.
And then
Oh,
Kendall,
she did you mention she tells Tom that Nate is also coming?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because she
And
couldn't avoid it
Tom
strategically.
puts on a brave face. He's like, "No, it'll be great to see Nate."
Yeah.
Lioness. Um, we get a line from a line I liked from Logan and from Kendall about how it's not just fascists there. There's centrist schools and neoliberal the centrist school line I liked. If Joe Biden, fake Joe Biden is probably at some version of this party decades ago doing coke with
I'm sure he's at one of like the sex parties that Pierce was at.
yeah.
I'm sure he's out there getting syphilis and shit. Like I no doubt at all. Like, but well, I can't prove anything. But the fictional Joe Biden would be doing that anytime. But with Pierce, Jesus Christ.
Let's see here. I have Tom as such a petty ball of anxiety. I don't remember what moment I made that note in reference to.
Now, maybe not at that point. There's parts I can think of later on.
Yeah.
I just really what I have next is that the siblings start just divide and conquering. You Roman, you get the Nazis.
All your guns are gonna be ladies. Yeah.
Guns gonna be ladies. Oh yeah. Oh, his commentary.
Yeah, because Kendall. This is where Kendall tries to say to Roman, like, "Hey, maybe we back off this whole supporting Mencken thing," and Roman's like, "No, we gotta double down and support him in case he's president." And Kendall's like, "So what's the play? Like full HRT crazy shit? We're coming for your guns. All your guns are gonna be ladies."
Yeah. And honestly, Tom's strategy with ATN about him didn't sound too conducive anyway. He said he was going to flow one way or another. He said because even with Shiv, he was like, well, I don't know if we're gonna bury it and say fuck it and just suppress the wind that's against us, or we're just gonna rally the troops for ratings.
Yeah.
Which I have a feeling it's probably gonna go that latter way, considering how how he already doesn't take the head. He doesn't really take the head of the wheel anyway. He's not going to be, he's going to he's just going to get washed over by the wave.
Yeah.
I can see that happening a lot more.
Tom interacting with people is such a moment to moment struggle to watch.
He grabs a bot like a little champagne glass and hands it over to Nate. Yeah. Yes. As in hey, actually drink my wine.
Yeah, drink my wine. Yeah. Oh, it's he makes that, yeah, it's like it's something this wine separates the something from something.
Yeah, some elitist non-working way.
Yeah, and then some guy comes up and grabs Nate, and he's like, "Don't let this man corrupt you away, Satan." And Tom's like, "Oh no, you away." Hey, what's up, buddy? And then, what a fucking asshole.
Yeah. Which I mean, but with the politics of this, yes. With what Tom is trying to do, yes. He is he's taking him away. Tom is on the public PR cruise. He is trying to he's trying to be, he's trying to do what Madsen's his purpose is trying to be that when he's over there.
Is this also where we get the people are one of the neoliberal opinion columnists there says something to Tom, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's right. You're going to jail. You're going to jail.
Oh, not you against the wall. Cool. You against the wall. You against the wall. No, right.
You're cool." It's like, right. Oh, Tom.
No, he does. He does the full pissed off tanky fucking glorification of death bullshit. So he runs on that for a second.
And then speaking of death, uh, Connor, or first Roman just asks Connor to drop out for the good of the Republic,
Yeah.
aka so that Mankin has a better chance. And then when Connor literally just laughs in his face, offers him the ambassadorship to Mogadishu.
And then Connor says, "I'm not talking over with my lady."
Yeah. Oh, no. Actually, later the offer that gets brought to his lady is later on when
Oh yeah.
they negotiate up to Oman. But it kind of
Yeah, of course,
ties
yeah.
into the conversation of like Connor is so fucking stupid.
Oh
We
yeah.
know that he
Oh
has
yeah.
spent hundreds of millions of dollars on this campaign. And the thing about it, the way real politics works in this country, if he had just taken that hundreds of millions of dollars and put it towards supporting a candidate, either candidate, he could have just bought himself an ambassadorship. Like Woody Johnson of the Jets, literally just bought himself the ambassadorship to the UK under the Trump administration. Like if it weren't for this like stupid bullshit vainglorious I want to be president, he could have just bought himself like high political office.
Yeah. Well, for him, it's not even that. It's just a vanity project. It's just it's just for him to prove to his dad that he could like do something. He can be a presidential candidate. Like
Yeah.
he can say he ran for president. He can be among that handful of people, which only because of his wealth. Something not anybody's able to do. But according to Connor, like anyone with like a few $1,000,000 is able to do.
Yeah. Um and then we see Kendall displaying one of his only core competencies, which is being an MC to like a group of like equally shitty rich people.
Yeah.
Um cuz it goes well here.
Yeah, he basically just kind of laughs it up about all the diversity of people over the media who were there, and laughs about yucking it up in their tailgate party, which is just funny because I love it because they're all just so acknowledging like how much they're a part of this process, how much they're rooting for their team, but it's for a sport that really actually matters, a dirty blood sport where their own careers are on the line. where they're going to
yeah.
do this, and that's the sense of humor that's there. It's not like, and it's funny because like for a tailgate that and it's funny, we haven't been to a tailgate together, but we've each been to a Lambeau tailgate before in our
Yes.
lives, and we can see how it is there. And then granted, Lambeau's a pretty chill place. Like you're not going to see like fights going on there, but you will have the bit of territorial. This is our place. But there is in football, as like we've probably seen on the internet.
There is at this party though too, and we will get to some of that
Yes,
later on.
yes, but like.
But
Yeah, they're all in the same club. They're all clubbing it up, and Kendall asked for a moment of silence.
and that is interrupted by the Viking invasion. Madsen, his drugged out left hand, and his antisocial. I don't really buy that she's antisocial, but his antisocial
Emotionally abused.
emotionally abused Comset. Yeah.
Yeah, and possibly other abused.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, like really, like, but at very least, emotionally abused. Yeah. But basically, this really freaks out the siblings. Kendall, and Roman and Shiv all go outside with Shiv acting surprised that why he said.
Yeah, she drops the like, should we? What's the play here? Should we just kick him out?
Yeah, it goes really offensive with a right away to avoid suspicion. Which, I mean, hey, good on that character for doing that. Good on her for playing it smart. But yeah, they basically decide that they're just gonna keep it the strategy and talk shit behind his back.
Yes, and they specifically task Shiv to be doing exactly what she wanted to be doing anyways,
Yeah,
which is guiding Madsen around the party.
yeah. pretty fucking much. So she could basically do the cover right. Blow her cover without blowing her cover.
Yeah.
Tom tries to go up to Madison and kiss ass a little bit to try and like stay some face, and
Yes.
his absolute servile nature completely shines through.
Yes. When Shiv approaches, Madison tells her, "I'm about to shit in your husband's mouth, and he's gonna tell me it tastes like Coco Melon."
I thought he said coconuts, like just like a Swedish
Coconuts.
I don't
I don't know. Coco something.
Coco something. Yeah, right. And of course he's saying like you wouldn't see. I love the line he has back there. But it's like you wouldn't be able to see that. You'd see it from a mile away. You're too smart. I'm like, God, this dialogue. Like I love it because the writers are able to just kind of like let loose and just be like, well,
yeah,
cringy writing. Okay, let's try it. Oh, it works so good.
Whenever they deploy Tom in these situations, it's like, oh man, this guy really did just rise through the woman he was sleeping with.
Right.
He really did kind of just whore himself up to the top.
Well, we don't even know his position. Well, his position was in Parks at first.
I mean, exactly. Even over the course of the show, we saw him go from Parks to Cruises to when he made the final betrayal, chairman of ATN.
Yeah. But anyway, Luke Madison continues to like just shit all over Matt, like all over Tom by basically saying, yeah, it's a nice place you got here. Who's gonna get in the divorce? And it's followed by no laughing besides Greg, who laughs at his joke.
Yeah,
and I like Tom's the look on Tom's face is just so classic of knowing like, wow, like every fucking, even Greg, a too Greggy. Then Shiv decides to distract it for that awkward situation and leads Madison around. And he introduces her to Ebba, who he continues to.
It's so hard watching this.
Publicly humiliate.
Going off on Ebba, yeah, publicly humiliating her for not being fun at parties. It's like, this is how he treats her at parties. Like, who can fucking blame her?
Right. Like, because she knows how shit is and she has to be quiet about it. Anyway, Tom, they got to Tom's team, which is like some, I don't know. He looks like a mix of like the Rent is Too Damn High guy and like just any older.
Oh, Connor's advisor / lawyer. Yeah.
Who he calls my liege. He calls Connor his liege.
I love that moment.
Like
Connor says he wants North Korea, and yeah, dude is like, oh, be careful, my liege.
He says, you don't know what can happen. Anything can
happen. You don't know.
Like,
that's the point. No one knows. I could open it up like Nixon did China.
Which I would love it. I would love to see the arc where Connor Roy goes to North Korea and gets imprisoned for like doing something fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I'd be so there for that arc. Like,
Connor Roy in North Korean prison. Yes, actually. That's a mini series. That needs to be made.
I'd love maybe that's my side project. But during the negotiations, basically like his little advisor is basically trying to like offer places that would be better, trying to give Connor like any sort of geopolitical knowledge at all, but it still, I imagine, not too well. And I imagine Connor probably asked him to be called my liege. I like to think that, but that's just my thing.
Yeah, I could see that.
But Connor's on the grandiose path, thinking that's like, oh, can I just get somewhere in the Balkans, carve my way up to Berlin by Christmas? Tries to, Connor replies that, well, the camp, his campaign's willing to offer you like one of the Slavic countries, like Slovenia, like
Slovenia, Slovakia, and he's like, no Slavs.
To which the advisor rebuttals South Korea, and to which Connor says it's a top 10 GDP player, probably not. And then Connor says North Korea. So
and Roman's like, nowhere with nukes. And then yes, the iconic, I'm offended. I don't want to go anywhere that doesn't have nukes.
Right. So yeah, it's some fun little political dialogue there. Then Greg is complaining to Tom that he can't really push his way to Madison. He says he can't really get in there with those Swedes. Like he's not really finding an opening.
Oh, Greg finds a way.
Yeah, he does. But Tom is basically more worried about getting enough wine out, or making the wine look scarce. Being a complete worry wart. Looking around these guests. Nate we then catch Nate catching Kendall in the hallway, to which he gives him his condolences.
Oh,
To
this is.
Logan.
I thought before we see Madsen talking to Nate.
Madsen's talking to Nate. What's Madsen talking
This
to
is
Nate
where
about?
Madsen starts putting out that like he's gonna fire everyone at the top of ATN, and then we get Nate going, "Oh," and he like looks over and he sees Tom, and he's like, "Oh, Tom."
Yeah.
Because then I think we get Oh, okay, yeah. I think we get that scene, and then we get Nate talking to Kendall in the hallway, and
We
Kendall
missed.
is just like he's that guy at the bar who is coked up and just won't stop talking to you.
No.
And Nate looks like he at no point in any of that conversation does Nate look like he wants anything to do with Kendall.
No. Like he gave him that little like condolences for your father's death in private that he will never do, in public. And it even tells him, it's like, yeah, like the activists, like the people who like basically are my bread and butter, don't like me being here. Like I'm just like, I really
Right.
shouldn't even be here.
And Kendall basically like lays it out on the line of like, help us block this merger and we will give you favorable coverage when Jimenez wins.
First 100
We will.
days.
First 100 days.
Right.
Yeah. And Nate parts with I remember how much how desperate you were to get laid at parties.
Yep. Well, yeah, I think also Kendall like also reveals that like we're blowing up this deal too. Like,
But yeah, it's like the first time he's really told someone outside of his siblings that like he is intent on blowing up the deal.
yeah, and it's like a media advisor who knows lots of journalists. Like it's nothing good, nothing good about that at all.
And then we get Shiv and Madsen in the coat room for the first coat room scene.
Yeah.
Where Madsen drops a line that I think also is kind of like Succession in a nutshell. Where he says, "I thought these people would be complicated, but they're not." And I think that's kind of in a way what Jesse Armstrong is doing with this entire show, is showing that like, yeah, these elites ain't shit. They are not some like special complicated snowflakes. They are basic ass bitches who love drama just like all the rest of us.
Money and gossip.
Money and gossip.
Always helps a bit to spread a bit of bad news, to quote our songwriting friend James Kunke.
Yes, indeed. I will have actually another quote from a unrecorded James Kunke original.
Okay, good.
Coming up in a little bit.
Go to jameskunke.bandcamp.com for incredible music, and don't forget jennifermunch.com.
And then this is where Shiv basically makes her demand of like, she's being helpful, she's being effective here, and what she wants is essentially a crazy ask of like, she basically wants to continue running Roy Star even after Madsen buys it. And Madsen tries his best to like, it's clear Madsen has no intention of going for this.
Yeah.
He even says like, I would hate to lose you, so instead of me losing you right now, let's circle back to this later.
Yeah. Yeah, just deny that breakup for a little bit longer. Yeah, that good analysis. Tom is we cut to Tom getting shit from some other.
Oh yeah, this is where we get the bang 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 bang. Yeah, it's like up, you up against the wall, you up against the wall. Not you, you're cool. Bang 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 bang. Is this
Well, I know that Rome gets a phone. Roman gets a lot of phone calls. Like he comes in from the balcony, getting a lot of phone calls, and he got wind about. He got a little bit of dirt. Like his dirt digging got a little bit of gold.
It seems like he stumbled onto the Madsen sending Ebba horrifying things in the mail.
Yeah,
just based on the hints he's dropping, but that's not the real fucking story.
Yeah.
We will get to that in a little bit, because then we get a great little scene.
Yes.
Between Kendall and Nate as Nate leaves the party, and like Nate makes it clear that like, yeah, no, my bosses want me to like leave this party right now because even me just being here isn't good optics. And Kendall tries to do is like, I see you, bro. I see you. I know you, my friend.
Yeah.
And Nate drops a line. I'm not Gil. You're not Logan, and that's a good thing.
Oh, well, I mentioned that. I was gonna say my first one that really took me to it is I don't like it's another kind of like all intensifying, like it's a big unifier of Succession is I don't like the tenor of this conversation. Like
yeah,
like it's something you don't hear said a lot. And because people are just going along with it, but like Nate is one of those few people to just jump on to like say just honestly what he's feeling of. I just don't like the tenor of this conversation. It's nothing to do with you. I don't like just what's trying to be got out of this. Like even if it does sound too good to be true, I don't want what's got out of this. And to which that
because he's one of the only people to say that being like Logan is a bad thing.
Yes. Being like Gil is a bad thing.
Being like Gil is a bad thing. These like shady backroom shit that the world is trying to move on from isn't a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
The fact that he would get lambasted on social media for being at this party is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
then we get Greg. Greg, that fucking little parasite manages to worm his way in to Madsen, and Madsen's right hand guy is on one. He is like just brutal to Greg.
Yep. No, calls him a dingleberry.
Calls him a dingleberry, a fucking hanger on.
Yeah.
Blows smoke in his face.
Right.
Just like
right.
bullying shit. But
yeah.
then, Greg takes it like the little worm that he is. They harass Ebba some more. Yeah. And when she storms off, Greg just like kind of similar to what he did with Marsha and God, what's her name? She hasn't been on the show since the episode after Logan died.
Oh, Chuckles the Clown.
Chuckles the Clown. Yeah.
It wasn't Carrie, was it?
Carrie. It was Carrie.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, just his way to like latch on to any kind of like bullying or like power imbalance situation that he can spot.
Mm-hmm.
He is just a classic like 80s movie lackey.
Yeah. Yeah. Greg kind of plays into that. Like, hey, I could fire her for you. I'm pretty experienced in this realm of that. To which, Madsen makes a big scene of it and says like, hey, everyone, like, this random kid's about to fire my, head of comms. Everyone wants to see it. Just really, more public humiliation of her. And then she storms out. She storms out and like with a nasty reply back that's well deserved. And
they're catcalling her, and then Ken and Roman corner her on the roof while she is smoking a cigarette. And that is when she eventually spills the beans that like she and all the despicable shit Madsen does to her is not Madsen's biggest weakness.
And she acts like this is like well known too. It's like she's like surprised you don't all know this, that our Indian numbers are severely inflated.
Yeah.
like so like to the point of this is a huge, like, this is the huge iceberg that we've been hiding. Before we get to that, we did go back to Connor Quick, and he was trying to sell the love of his life, Willa, on moving to Amar. to which which she was not convinced, and she was, and
You live in a nice compound. You got diplomatic plates. You can mow people down on the sidewalk if you want. None of those are selling points to Willa.
None of those are. I've just had to mention that quick. I think after that we get Tom still getting more shit from guests about how bad. Oh yeah, about basically the radical right violence that had been occurring.
Yeah, and he just keeps saying like, oh, the little firecracker, the little like firework in the little trash can fire. It was nothing.
Yeah.
And Shiv needles him about like, oh, Tom, you're too tired to stay on top of everything.
Which I think is a bit of foreshadowing, honestly.
Oh, it's all. I mean, there's a dozen little moments that lead up to
Yes.
what's about to happen on the balcony.
Yeah. Yeah, but then basically the siblings grab Shiv and talk about what they just learned from Ebba about this India inflation. And we cut back to Greg getting on with the Swedes. He's getting on with Madison and his number 2. With them being just so amused at how ruthless this little fuck is.
Yeah,
with hiring people.
He brags
and
about
not
being a
having any
psychopath.
shame.
He's like HR says that I'm good at firing people because it seems like I care, but I don't. And Madsen is even like interrogating him of like, so you're not a good person. And Greg's like, no, I am a good person. You just got to do what you got to do. Madsen's like, do you though? I would have loved to have seen that conversation continue a little bit. But
I the time even we walked in on it, where like you had Greg saying like, you've underestimated me, and that's exactly what I expected you to do.
Yeah,
it's like, oh my god,
I can see Greg being like CEO of Gojo by the end of this.
Oh
Like,
my god,
who
I'm
the
rooting
fuck
for it.
knows?
I'm rooting for it with him just being like, you dumb babies, I'm gonna acquire Twitter and I'm gonna make my own rules for it. I don't care. You dumb babies have to bow before me because you poop in diapers. Man, I'm just here for it. I love this shit. And then like, of course, the secondhand Swede then refers to him like with what I want to like side call, at least, Greg, his little side name of a butcher with a smile.
Yeah. He might yet earn that nickname in full by the end of the series. We will see how these next 3 episodes play out.
Yeah.
And then then Shiv pulls Madsen back into the coat room.
Not to make out
about the India numbers.
Yep. To basically confront him about, we know what's going on in India, to which Madison tries to play off like, it's nothing, it's just, it's a metric problem. Like, it's like, it just,
but like the way he frames it is like, if there were 2 Indias, maybe the numbers would make sense. To which Shiv says, okay, well, I guess I'll just fucking build another India then. Man, like, how did this strike you? Because it seemed to me for the past few episodes that Madsen had been built up as like he's the competent counterpart to the Fail Sons, like these guys are toxic and have Fail Sons, and Madsen is also toxic, but at least he knows business. And now we find out that no, his business is also bullshit. And like one thing Ebba drops is that like, oh, he's not even a coder.
Yeah.
Like he just got his hands on some products that other people had built, and we led him to marketing.
Yeah, he's a Musk. Like,
yeah, he is. He's a Musk. He's a Jobs. He's take your pick.
Yeah, of how any of these people like really make money.
So I feel, and I guess that it tracks. Honestly, it's kind of tonally whiplash, but it tracks with like the overall vibe of the show, of like no one who's rich is actually worthy of that money.
Yeah. And the way I feel like they've kind of played him in is like they've played with some mystery, and it's I see a lot of parallels. I mean, there's a lot of parallels with like a lot of elite people like in real life they have. And I see a lot of Musk, this dude, like, you know, with like, you know, the kind of man boyish tweeting, the insensitivity crap, the like, oh, you have this much money, but you're willing to get into like an argument with some like perceived beneath you person and then block them on your own platform type of shit.
Yeah.
Like and then of course like your whole business model is just a house of cards and just nonsense, but you have such a good media perception of yourself that you get a bunch of these dumb fucking fanboys to just jump along with your shit and have you think that you're actually achieving something when you haven't been. And and that's one of the more frustrating things. And sometimes I have to go along and, you know, have to like explain to like people who want to call themselves lefties or, you know, even liberals who think that Elon Musk is great. And I have to just like slowly explain to them how, the media lies to you. You know, they have a lot of these things in their back pocket to make you perceive how great that they are. And they spend a lot. That's because they have a lot of resources to invest into that, because like they're horrible people and they have a lot of interest in making you think that they're great. And it's very easy to make a lot of people look like they're worse than they are. And it's there's a lot of money in making people look like they're actually really good. You ask Donald Trump all about that. I think he spent a lot of money to tell people how, in the ways that in any way that he's good at all. But moving on to you know, public opinion. We then get to Roman walking up to Jerry to try and eat crow.
The official theme song of this scene is a song by James Kuhnke, unreleased as of yet, but it's called "This Is Why You Shouldn't Have Fucked Up So Bad." It's a song James likes to sing when he's drunk or when we're doing bad at Smite. But this is Roman's. That's why you shouldn't have fucked up so bad. That's why you shouldn't have fucked up so bad. Because Jerry just smacks him around in this scene, and not in the way Roman likes, where she's just like an eye-watering amount of money, hundreds of millions of dollars, and if you say anything in the next 5 years that doesn't agree with my media team's like strategy and memoing, then we're gonna burn you.
Burn the fuck out of you with all this evidence that you sent me. With your little mass and prop. Then Roman tries to like get a dub after that and goes back to Connor and asks him like, hey Con, what do you think of the deal? And Connor sticks to his guns. He says that I'm sticking to that 1% in this room that believes in me. He sticks to his base. He doesn't even sell out for anything.
And like Willa's motives are actually, I think we kind of elided past that, but like when she's talking to Connor, she's basically just like, Menken's a fucking douchebag. Like all my friends and family like hate this guy. He's a bad dude. Like do not help him become president. And, you know, Connor doesn't care about that. He's an egomaniac who just needs like one person to say he can do something. But
yes. Clings on to that little slim minority. Which honestly does come down to his daddy complex of just like any little sliver of just affection. Even if it's like him begging for a little 100 mil for his dad so that like his girlfriend's play can stay on track.
Yeah. Well, 100 mil, I think, was that, but then, Rome lays the fuck into Connor and just, I mean, it's basically all stuff we heard Logan say when he was talking to Connor about that $100 million loan, about like, you're a fucking joke. Everyone thinks you're a fucking joke. You're embarrassing us. Your wife. And he like uses wife in quotation marks, which is shitty.
Considering
how much affection has Roman ever had that wasn't directly paid for? You have right?
His last girlfriend was a call girl too.
Yeah,
and other than that, it's been Jerry. It's like right. It was a call girl he didn't fuck. Like
that's true.
Our call girl he fucked once maybe. Like
That's the pot calling the cream pie eating kettle black or something.
Shout out to the first season. So
Yeah, shout out to the first season. Some of those first season scenes were wild. Because yeah, wasn't that a thing where like
Tom got a
Tom fucked the
snowball.
call girl, and then Roman like got with her, and then like only wanted to eat her out or something like that, right?
Yeah. No, he only wanted to like jerk off next to her. Like
What a fucking weirdo.
right. Like it's like what the hell's going on here? And guys, this is like an over 18 podcast too. So it's
yeah.
like, yeah, so
The
obviously
show,
get
both
the
the
fuck,
show,
get the fuck
and
out of here.
get the fuck out of here if you don't want to hear
This
about
is like a trade union workshop, and you don't like the language here, you will not like the language there. All right. Believe me, those people are a lot of smut there, a lot of garbage out there. Anyway, Lucas and Ken, Lucas, Madison, and Ken then kind of have at first kind of friendly start to banter about because this is when Connor
kind of like starts it. He's like, "Yeah, good job. Your numbers are literally unbelievable."
Yeah.
And then Lucas spits back with like, "Oh yeah, your projections. Can't wait to dig into those projections." And then Ken's like, projections, you know.
And the room starts getting silent just watching this happen.
And that's when Lucas is like, "Your numbers are gay." And Ken's like, "Wait, what did you say?" And then Lucas is like doubles down there like, "They're gay. Your numbers, they came out as gay." While it was like already established that like this famous podcaster and this, you know, Times op-ed writer and that like MSNBC anchor are all here, like
all these journalists.
Yeah.
All these journalists are hearing about this shit. And they keep going on, and like Shiv's looking on in horror.
Right.
Like
and then Lucas kind of like, "Oh, but you love the deal though, right?" And Kendall's like, "Biggest overpay in history? Yeah, I love the deal." And they just like hug it out where they say, "Love the deal. Love the deal." Back and forth, back and forth. It's so weird. It's such weird energy.
Yes, no, it's the energy played in it because it all starts like right when like Connor's leaving and Roman's like berating him in front of everyone.
And during that scene when Roman is berating Connor, Madsen is like sitting on the couch in the background and he's kind of like clapping and cheering and like waving his hands, and like when Connor walks away, Madsen is like, "Hey man, I support you 100%. You have my vote." It's like, these fucking shit. They're all such shit smears. It's delightful to watch.
And it is. It's just drama. Like it is just like reality show fucking drama. Like what a bitch.
What a bitch.
What a bitch. Like he said that. He said, "What'd you say back?" Oh, they said, "How much they offer you?" Oh, what'd you say? Like it is nothing but gossip and money.
And then all these like rubberneckers, like their night is just beginning, because after that Kendall and Lucas thing, that's when Tom announces that he's going to bed, and then he like steps outside and Shiv follows him, and then what we get
for 45 more minutes, like
is like one of the most intense, captivating, engaging like domestic fight scenes I think I've ever seen on television. I watched it, you know, my first time. I watched it a second time and I was like trying to take notes. It's almost the kind of thing you can't really take notes on, because
I couldn't take notes on it.
I had people. It's a couple, capital F, fighting, where you're just pulling out every fucking like arrow in your quiver and just shooting it right at the other person's heart.
Like, and I'm talking about the type of fight where it's like you don't care about breaking up. Like,
no, you don't. They are both done. I don't even know. Like, all right, a big question overall. Do you think that is it for Shiv and Tom? Are they actually done?
We don't know necessarily if that's Tom's baby either.
I feel pretty confident.
I feel like it is, but it's like she did fuck the odd
Well,
like the
well, as Tom says in this fight, left him at home so she could fuck the phone book.
yeah.
Uh,
No,
I feel pretty confident it's Tom's baby though,
but she
because like,
it might be the studio guy's baby. Like it might be that. Like it could be. And
but
it's
like
like
Tom told her, I think you're a bad I don't think you should have kids. You're a bad person, and you should not. You're an empty husk of a person, and you should not bring a child into this world. Like I feel like Tom kind of won too, in the sense of like I do, because like he was pulling out the you were about to see me go to fucking prison, Shiv.
but she had a good reply. It was like, you offered to go to fucking prison. I
Prison
told you
because you're
not
at
to. I
Sofiles
told you
driving.
not to. Like
Yeah.
I kind of like actually like feel with that. It's like, dude, you're swimming with the sharks and you were just like, hey, eat me. Take off my fucking arm and then complain about it, where it's like, yeah, like that's fucking stupid. Like, why are you doing that? Like I can see that too, but it's also like, yeah, like she ain't been down for him. Like it's
She
like
has
what
never been down for him, not
right.
even once.
Right. Like and then she says, like she mentions like, well, you're only fucking me for my DNA anyway. And which the thing is though, is it's like while I do think Tom like does grow a love for her, I think that like there's something to be said for like, well, perhaps some of that love might have been built out of necessity, because
No, you're right.
he certainly didn't
I
get that
thought they
himself.
had kind of a lot of the stuff it's weird, because like I thought a lot of the basic stuff was the stuff that they had talked about last week, when they were like, when Tom was like, yeah, I'm with you because I like money, and I betrayed you because there
I
was
like
more
money.
money there. You
Yeah.
made me sign this prenup, and then you like are constantly giving me the cold shoulder. So when your dad offered me to like make my career, yeah, I took the money. And like I guess that conversation last week was not the end point. And maybe this isn't the end point, but like, yes, these are two deeply cynical, broken in their own ways. Although, I don't know. When Shiv says something like, you cost me the last 6 months of my dad's life, it's like, Shiv, no, he did not. Your dad was already actively trying to fuck you over when Tom did that. And also, your dad never loved you and never was going to love you.
I disagree with that, Tim. I think Logan does love his kids.
Well, all right, love, sure. And like,
I think it's the same way as like the same way an abusive parent would like
yeah,
love their
yeah,
children, but it's like
it's an abusive
they're
love,
fucked.
and like
Like,
no matter what Tom did, Shiv wasn't gonna get like this like deranged fantasy version of Logan,
no.
where like he like
He says, I'm sorry,
yeah,
daughter. Like, yeah.
like at his wake, she was talking about like, oh, he's never going to like rock his grandchild to sleep, and it's like, Shiv, he was never going to. You don't think? Do you think he was like rocking Kendall's kids to sleep when they were children? Of course not. That's not Logan.
He's
That
a
was
fucking
never going
pirate.
to be Logan. He's a fucking pirate.
He's got to lead the ship. He's got to lead the men. He can't be rocking no fucking baby. That ain't what he's doing. He's got to make sure they can ride on elephants and stuff.
Yeah. And the way I give the edge to, because Shiv's last thing she says is, I just don't think not true. Where she says, I didn't like you. I don't love you. You never meant anything to me. You never deserved me. And like, maybe that last part is true. Who can say? But like, I don't think the fact that like, I don't care. Like when you're telling someone, when you're screaming at someone, I don't care about you. That's not true. And also, she is carrying his baby, most likely.
More than like, yeah, most likely. But it's, I haven't. It still could go a lot of ways. Like they are. I would expect it to, but honestly, like the writing's still so good because it's just
so good.
It,
It's so good. You feel like you want to turn away because you feel like you're listening to like acquaintances of yours fighting at a dinner party.
yeah. right. Like it is one of those classic fights, like a marriage, like the Marriage Story fight, but like,
yeah,
but just even on that, like
on that one Kendrick Lamar song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jesus, yeah, it's just a lot of raw emotion. And I also have to say, it's just, just two actors not from America just doing this like highly emotionally driven argument in a different accents, just rocking
Oh
it
yeah,
out.
no,
Like,
you're right. Because that's always like when I watch the podcast, it's always like, okay, you're Australian and you're British as fuck, and the two of you are just like screaming at each other these intense emotions while maintaining perfect American accents. It's bizarre. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. I mean, like I've done some plays where I had to do a different accent, and like I'm sure like a true South Africaner would look at my accent and go, kid, you have things to improve on. But these
No, I've heard
guys,
about that. You did have the accent down pretty good.
well, I mean, but that's the thing. But we're Midwesterners, and and I'm gonna say their accents, like Tom's accent, is like so fucking on top, and it's
Yeah.
not like overindulged like in Fargo or something where everyone's a youper, but it is like it is how most people, even urban or most people in the
Yeah.
country,
And to know that
Wisconsinites.
he doesn't even just have a British accent, he has a posh British accent.
Yes,
And to see him take it all the way down to like Midwestern is always, it always blows my mind when I hear Matthew McFadden
yeah,
speak out of character.
yeah. And just also his chemistry with Shiv and
Oh,
Greg, like,
oh my God.
and it's not to take anything away from,
They've kind of been especially this season, they've been a cornerstone. Like even going back to like the first episode of the season where like they just lie on the bed together.
yeah,
Yeah, the two of them have just been like so irresistible every time they've been on screen together.
yeah. Sarah Snook is,
Sarah Snook
yeah,
is a force.
yeah, like really is. But after we get off that like emotionally driven scene where it's so hard to follow up, we start wrapping things up, and Ken takes Frank off to the side and asks for advice that Frank is reluctant to give because he just wants to stay out of the. Frank's kind of like a person who like is an ex CIA, where it's like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore, but they keep getting dragged in for shit.
Yeah,
That's just like, even if you're like, I don't want to do this,
yeah,
I don't want to.
he literally puts his hands on his ears when Kendall says that he wants to tank the deal.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, what Kendall is proposing is going full reverse Viking, pillaging Madsen's village, and he wants to try to buy out Gojo, which seems stupid to me.
It seems like building another India, pretty much. It seems like Frank is just like, you'd have to sabotage their company, basically. Like,
well, except that, if all the stuff with Emma comes out and the stuff with India comes out, maybe that's a 1-2 punch that sends them reeling enough. But right. I don't know. But I think it's the kind of thing that, because we were talking about this last week, in the like Shakespearean sense, this is a tragedy, and I think it's all going to end up in pieces. So maybe this is the move that really does sink both companies.
Yeah. That's totally right. Like, and it's capitalism in a nutshell of, no, I'm going to devalue my competition to then acquire it. I'm not going to build growth. I'm not going to like let competition bring the best out of this. It's going to be destruction.
Yeah.
Essentially fascism, where it's just like promoting the economy through degrowth. And that's the core of it in my view. But yeah, not like nothing good coming out of it. With Kendall's little plan going forward. But then Tom basically comes in after the fight and
he can't sleep. Oh yeah, he tells everyone to go and fuck off.
Bedtime for Bongo.
Bedtime. What's that? Bedtime for Bongo.
Yeah, the infamous Ronald Reagan film. See, a film where I wish the chimp went crazy and like rip the actor's face off, but like, yeah. Could have changed that chip could have changed the course of history, but we don't know that. Tells everyone to get the fuck out of his house, and that he say with everyone laughing, and he says, "No, I'm serious. You need to get the fuck out. Okay, you need to leave. Okay, bye." To which all the siblings are still at the bar sitting there. Like, and
like, fuck Tom.
I know this is like a working class thing of like, because you felt like this, Tim, of like wanting people to get the fuck out of your house, even though you don't
all the time. Yeah.
Or if Tim, have you been there at a bar close where you're having way too much fun and the whole bar is having way too much fun and the barkeeps are trying to get you the fuck out of there?
I have, yeah.
And they start getting like pissed off because
Yeah.
you're still there and they want to go home, but everyone's drunk and like and has ADHD and like can't like is like saying goodbye to like 10 different people, and like the bartenders, it starts off as like, okay, you guys need to leave, to like, guys, seriously, get the fuck out of here. Like there's like just, it's almost as if they're ready to fight you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I kind of thought of, is that
Yeah,
bar
no, it's
clearing,
definitely, yeah.
the bar clearing energy, with all, of course, the patrons and the siblings looking at each other like,
We're
fuck
not
Tom,
leaving. Yeah, we're
fuck
gonna fuck
Tom.
Tom.
Like, so Shiv's like,
Yeah.
this is my
I mean, to be
house.
fair, yeah, it is Shiv's house too. And then I think the final shot of this episode is a situation that, oh no, Roman is going to be the power speaker at Logan's funeral.
Just all of a
As
sudden,
settled.
all of a
Which
sudden.
is like, because like, yeah, nothing else other than his rat fuckers coming through has really gone Roman's way.
He needs a win.
He needs a win. So he's going to be the man to stand up and like speak to the great and because like I feel like Roman, especially since his dad died, has been really my dad wasn't an asshole. What are you talking about? My dad wasn't a prick. Why are you calling my dad a prick? My dad was a good man. So like if that's the energy he's bringing to this funeral, it is going to be some weird energy. It's going to be.
I look forward to it because they really like to write disasters for Roman. Like Roman, like they make him a bumbling, flustered speaker when it comes to him talking to like this call with the president is like one of my favorite moments of this series.
Yes.
Of like how much he fucks up in every way with going in with no, and I know he's going to be going it. The Roman plan is to go in with no plan and wing it. And say like, my personality is just going to drag me through this without really having what you have set forward, without giving like an outline to anybody, without not being humble enough to take some advice.
Yeah.
And so he's going to make a big old stage for himself to have like a big old therapy session, or maybe even like do some dumb shit, like reveal some shit about like maybe get ahead of Jerry's shit by exposing himself, or any dumb thing. Like any dumb thing that he could do up there, because he has got a big platform with everyone listening and he feels small. So
yeah, he could do. Yeah, no, it could go wrong in so many ways, and that'll be fun to watch. And then the last shot of the show is Tom lying in bed, unable to sleep, despite how tired he is and how busy he's going to be next day on election night. And that's got to be our next episode, right? Is finally we get election night.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's going to be election night, and I think it's going to be a tight race. And I think that the radical right is going to is going to play hardball. Is going to play hardball with this. Dispute the results of the election, even though it probably doesn't favor them. And Tom is probably going to make some big follies. And we're gonna be setting up for. I mean, honestly, we're only 3 episodes left.
Only 3. I can't believe we're only 3 episodes left. Yeah, one is election night. We still have to see Logan's funeral, and then who knows? And
then it's the conclusion. It's probably I'm expecting a good like hour and a half finale.
It's Greg Uber-Alles.
Uber-Alles. Gregland, Uber-Alles. Fuck
no,
man.
yeah. This episode was the first time where I could really see that again, because they had been shitting on Greg so much throughout this entire season, but he honestly had a better night than any of the siblings.
Yeah, and it's Shakespearean in this writing with the foreshadowing and the guessing what's going to happen with like, the thematic plays that they've had, basically lines and stanzas repeating each other.
Yeah.
Since this has happened. I can't wait for like probably after we're done with this series, we're probably going to do like probably a post analysis, like at the whole of Succession, probably maybe discussion before we move on to something else.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe because there's still so much for us, and we're only starting to talk about this like during the 4th season, which is so true. Late. We're jumping with the bandwagon.
We are.
And we're still just having fun with it. So honestly, like I'm fine, whatever we're gonna run with it. But honestly, folks, it's just more content to look forward to, more reason to talk about politics and other things that we like in there, and to implement our own leftist perspective into media we see abroad. But until next time, we're just going to be working and doing our best. But until next time, folks,
keep working.
Keep on working. There we are.